Welcome to the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with your host, Amanda Bird. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast. Apologies for me not being as normally upbeat as I am. I just had a little sneezing fit. Not fun. I fucking hate sneezing fits. But hey, it's been like 2 days since I've woken up at 3 or 4 a.m. having a sneezing fit. So nice, right? Also, yikes, I look super pale, and I'm actually not that pale right now. Like my face is, but my chest and my shoulders are not, which is weird. I don't know if it's the lighting or if it's the settings on the camera, but whatever. I will survive. This is my home setup, so it's going to look a lot different than when I'm elsewhere. Anyway, so on this week's episode, we are going to talk about book covers. Lots to talk about with book covers. And on the life topic, we're going to talk about healing, like things like timelines and forgiveness. Should you forgive? Do you have to forgive? Do you want to forgive? Right? There's a lot of, I think, toxicity surrounding the forgiveness aspect. And I think that should be addressed. For the shenanigans portion, I'm not sure we're actually going to get to that this week. As you can see, I don't have my headphones on, so I cannot hear myself, or at least, as well as I should hear myself like I do when I'm recording these episodes, just because I have plans this evening. So I really didn't want to mess up my hair, even though it doesn't really do anything anyway. And look at that, I need my roots done. So there's that. Okay. So on to book covers. They're a fun topic to talk about. The most widely given advice on those is to be on market, on genre, right? And the biggest piece of advice that most indies are given is to go on to Amazon and look at the top 100. Great advice, I think. There are other places you can go because, let's face it, Amazon is not the be-all, end-all. I will never, ever, ever be the person to be like, yes, it's all about Amazon. No, sorry, not me. I'm not your girl. You want to hear that shit? Go somewhere else. You can look at, I think Barnes & Noble has lists. I know Kobo has lists. And you have to remember that this is the problem with the retailers. Each retailer with their lists, they all have different types of readers, different types of, the way they organize their lists is different. Amazon heavily weights things that are in Kindle Unlimited, whereas the other retailers do not. So I will look at Amazon when I'm looking for cover inspiration. If I'm looking for cover inspiration, I will usually go elsewhere because I want to see what's selling, right? I want to see what's actually selling elsewhere out in the world. Now, my covers for the 13 Reasons for Murder series are sort of on market, but also like my series isn't on market. So it's unique, right? I got tired of not reading about enough, we'll call it virtuous serial killers, even though Brittany is the furthest thing from virtuous. Like the vigilante justice thing. So that said, like, you know what? This is not going to be beneficial for those listening on Spotify or Substack or anywhere else. So I'm not actually going to go ahead and show my covers. You can head over to my website, amandabird.net, to see the covers. Some of them are quite different. Now, when it comes to working with a cover designer, most of them are going to give you Like if you let them know, hey, you're the first cover designer I'm actually working with, what do you need from me? Direction wise, they're going to tell you. I did a lot of research. I actually did my very first cover for book 1, Politeness Kills. I did that by myself. And I wanted a black and white cover with white and red font on it. And that's what I did. Now, the font that I used, the gradient that I used was really, really fucking bad. But you know what? The book still sold. So that tells me something. The book caught enough people's eye just by cover alone, just by description alone, right? That caught people's eyes and did what it was supposed to do. So now I've got new covers. I linked up with a cover designer a couple of years ago and had him redo. Actually, I think it was just book 1. Nope. He did books 1 through 4. I went through like a full series rebrand. You can actually see books 1 through 4 in my Facebook page header. He did a phenomenal job with all of them. With the first one, especially. The other 3, I wound up sending him links to images that I wanted. I wish I could still work with him. It's just a little more than I can afford right now. So I found someone else on Fiverr who is highly rated. He does great covers. So I kind of use him now if it's not something that I can't do myself or one of my graphic design friends can't do for me. Now, here's the difference between graphic design and book cover design. Graphic design is its own separate kind of industry. Like when you think graphic design, think professional online courses like Microsoft trainings, or even, what my company does, we do, the company that I have my day job, we do security awareness training, and the animated ones and the ones, that's graphic design, right? It's not book cover design. Luckily, my friend who is a graphic designer is also a huge reader. So she pays attention to covers. She knows what they're supposed to have, what they're not supposed to have, what they're supposed to look like. And at this point, if I've got her helping me on a cover that I can't do myself because I'm just too Photoshop inept, and she's not, because she's been doing this for so long, she'll make the adjustments that I need, and then I just go ahead and tweak everything and finalize it that way. So it really just kind of depends on my needs for that specific book, I think. I do have deposit photos. I like deposit photos a lot. Through AppSumo, they tend to have $49 kind of like, it's called a lifetime deal, but it's like 100 images for $49. So I think I'm somewhere around, I don't even know. I get it every time it comes out. So for $49, I get 100 images, and I don't know. I just keep stacking them because you can keep stacking them. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. So that's actually probably what I'm going to do for Amelia Earhart and, the whole Serial Women of History series as well. Progress on Amelia Earhart is still slow. Progress on Brittany Book 8 Harlow will happen next weekend, something around there. Potentially in the next 2 weeks, just because I've got a lot going on and I've got some things that I want to get up in the shop, and Kickstarter and things like that with the fulfillment of that sort of campaign, if you will, even though the campaign didn't fund. I did have people that chose to receive their rewards anyway. So I'm trying to get that fulfillment started at the very least, at least with some of the digital things. And then I've got an audiobook that needs to be edited. That would be Meathead Book 2. So that will be available in September. I want to release it to the Kickstarter backers first, and then release it to the rest of the world. So that's that on my book stuff. So back to covers. When you're working with a cover artist for the first time, it's not going to kill you to do your research. It's going to benefit you to do your research, whether it's on the cover designer, if it's an independent cover designer. There are companies like 100 Covers, Mibble Art, Stuart Bache, I can't remember the name of his cover company either. But there's a lot of them out there, right? Stuart Bache comes highly recommended through Mark Dawson. Mibble Art comes highly recommended through a lot of fantasy authors. So it's really going to depend on your genre too. So if you're in different groups and things like that, whether it's on Facebook, Reddit, wherever you're at, it's going to behoove you to start doing research. Do you want a pre-made cover? Do these pre-made companies offer series continuity? Because that's a big deal when it comes to series. If they don't offer series continuity, you're going to have to work somewhere with another company. There are a lot of the pre-made companies that will work with series continuity. Some of them will be very explicit about it, like, hey, let us know if you already have a cover that a series that you want us to work with. Some of them don't. The ones that don't are the ones I would probably avoid, especially if you're looking for series continuity and you've already got covers and you want to move over to this pre-made company and they don't explicitly state on their website and you have to reach out. I just kind of think that's lazy. I think that's a bad way to do business. It should at least be answered in an FAQ somewhere, right? Because most of us write series. Even if it's a series of standalones, those covers are still going to be similar to a degree. They're going to have some aesthetic that we want to maintain, right? So it saves everyone time, not just us, but them, especially them, because how many revisions are they offering for, the $450 you're about to pay them for ebook, audiobook, print cover? And they usually include like social media images too. But like, how many revisions are they offering for that price? Unlimited is weird for me because I feel like if people take advantage of that unlimited and they're asking for like a dozen, unless there's a real bad communication issue and they're asking for like a dozen changes every single time something is submitted back to them. No. So do I think like unlimited is what most of them offer, but you want to look at those packages, right? Like what are you getting for that money? Because it's a lot different than an editor. It's a lot different than a marketing service, right? Especially when it comes to a cover, because as much as people say don't judge a book by its cover, we all do. We all do. I judge books by their covers. I judge my own books by their covers. Some of the covers I look at and I'm like, damn, that's a good cover. Disillusioned and Politeness Kills are my two favorite covers. Absolute favorite covers. Because I think they embody the series, or at least the story, so well. And I could not have planned for Disillusioned to come out any better. And when my artist redid book one and did like his whole thing with it, that could not have embodied kind of like the whole series branding as well as it did. And I gave him almost no direction. I said, this is what my cover currently is. Have at it. Because I wanted to see what he had, what he would do with that. And he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. We still keep in touch, and I keep telling him, as soon as I can, I'm gonna start. I'll start working with you again. I can't right now. And yeah, so that's kind of that with him. But have an idea of what you want. Have an idea of what the genre wants and needs. Like I'm noticing shifts in the thriller and psychological thriller genre for a bunch of different books now. So I get the BookBub daily deal email, and I also get the Free Booksy email. Usually, I read them. I go through them both every day. And I pay attention to covers, right? It's not just me trying to get ideas, though I do have historical fiction added to both of those lists because I do actually need cover ideas for that, so that I know what's on genre for that. I have the ideas. I just need to know the finer things, like fonts, color for the font, things like that, because every genre is going to be different. Take a look at something like a Forgotten Realms book, right? So that's fantasy. And then what other fantasy books do I have? Urban fantasy, we could go with, see, it's still a different genre though. I don't think I have anything that might be the same fantasy genre as Forgotten Realms. So I can't even begin to describe just the subtle differences between the two. Thrillers, they're usually the same. And then for whatever reason, Penguin got all weird with Dexter, and they decided to go the whole weirdly photoshopped route. And I still don't understand this, because they went the weirdly photoshopped route, and I think that was after the TV show had come out, the original TV show. We're not going to talk about Bad Blood right now. That might be a shenanigans bit or rant. That's right, you heard me, rant. Right, it's called Bad Blood. I don't know, that new garbage that's parading around as Dexter. So yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that right now, because I will get a little passionate about that. So we're not going to talk about that right now. And then you look at the UK covers, and they are solid. They are across the board. All 8 books are the same type of cover, same font, same everything. And I think my ultimate goal with my series is to maybe eventually do something like that. It's blood spatter across the cover. And I think that's the coolest thing, and I think that's perfect for a serial killer book, right? It's blood spatter. So I do think that that's going to be something I'm actually going to look at doing at some point in the future, but probably once all the books are completed. I do like the black, largely black and white covers with the white and red font. So I think it's something that my designer and I would really have to work on. And also, he does a lot of photo manipulation, so I would be really afraid of what that price tag would be. Just because there's a lot. I don't know what it would take to kind of create these custom images like this, because I'm not looking for photo manipulation at this point. Just because if I'm going to do something like that, I would want it to be original. The same way the UK print copies of Dexter look. They look so original. So do I really want to follow in those footsteps? I mean, how bad would it be if somebody picked up one of my books and thought it was a Dexter book, right? I ain't going to say no to that, especially if they buy it. And if they like it and keep reading the series. So yeah, branding across the series is important. Covers are important. Yeah. So I think that's where we're going to wrap up with the covers. I would link to all of these pre-made sites, but the pre-mades and the custom, but there's so many out there. So if you have a question, just pop it in the comments or send me an email, amanda.bird.books@gmail.com, and or amanda@amandabird.net. And I'm happy to, respond and give you what I know. I mean, I personally know authors who have worked with other companies with the pre-made sites or the custom sites like that. And I know a lot of them frequently offer some kind of sales or bulk discounts if you're doing more than I think it's like 2 or 3 or 4 books, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of them offer that too. So you could always, keep an eye out for that. Or even if you're not ready for covers and you find one that you really, really want, pick it up. Pick it up. What's it going to hurt you? Because then you can use that to brand your series. So yeah, we'll leave off on that. And I'm not going to do like a shout out or anything. What I am going to do is hit the pause button for a second. And I will be right back. Okay, I lied. I am going to do like a shout out thing. Spookala, Florida. Premier horror convention has come to Tampa and they will be here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October. Oh my goodness. Why am I forgetting these dates? I keep doing this every friggin' time. That's October 6th, 7th, and 8th at the Florida State Fairgrounds. Head over to Spookala, SPOOKALA.com to check out their guest lineup. They've got Jay and Silent Bob. They've got a Scream reunion happening, which I think is great. They've got a lot of great guests. I am personally excited to meet the voice of Oogie Boogie. Maybe get a selfie with him. There's a couple other people I'd love to get selfies with, but we'll see how the weekend works out because I'm going to be there to sell. So it's more, who's there on Friday. I'm going to be there to do business with my books. So I will be there. I'm pretty sure Maria DeVivo will be there. Mark Muncy in Erie, Florida will be there. I'm not 100% sure on which other authors I personally know will be there, but I know there's going to be a lot. So if you are local and in town, head out to Spookala at the Florida State Fairgrounds, October 6th through 8th. Okay, cool. Now that I got that out of the way. Yeah, I'd taken a break and I was like, oh wait, I can shout this out. Also, if you were wondering, that actually is going to be my next event. I don't have any other events planned between now and then to include panels. I forgot about that one. And I really apologize to those who had come out to Tampa Bay Comic Convention looking to chat, and I wasn't there. I was only there for a couple hours on Saturday, and then I peaced out. Do I think that's a convention I will ever do again? I couldn't tell you, but as of right now, no. Zero desire. I did get a lead from an acquaintance I made at Tampa Bay Comic Convention on some book festivals. So it's possible I might start doing those. I really don't want to because that shit gets expensive. So we'll see how that goes. I would much rather just kind of focus on marketing and getting, like a warehouse thingy sort of thing set up so that I can ship books and sign them and, that kind of thing. So I don't think, I don't know that I'm going to continue to do a whole lot more than like 2 a year, but I am looking into those specific book conventions. One of them's in Maryland and the other one is in New Jersey. That's right. I said it, New Jersey. My friends up north are probably like, oh yes, she's going to come up. Maybe. We'll see. It's an outdoor thing in the summer and gross. So without further ado, we're going to head over to the life topic of the podcast. This week's discussion is going to be on healing, right? Healing. We're talking timelines in air quotes, and forgiveness, and the toxic kind of culture, if you will, around forgiveness, right? So let's start there, because I got to be in my bonnet about that one. Forgive me. I forgive me for saying I have a bee in my bonnet about that one, because fuck, that is not at all what it is. It is not a bee in my bonnet. It's a giant fucking arachnid on my head, and all I want to do is squish it and burn it. So, if that doesn't tell you how I feel about the toxic culture of forgiveness, let me elaborate. Now, forgiveness isn't something we do for the person who hurt us, right? Forgiveness is something we do for us so that we don't feel that weight on our hearts anymore. Now, here's where the toxicity comes in on that. There are going to be quote unquote experts. There are going to be influencers. There are going to be people who tell you that you need to forgive for yourself. And for the longest time, I believed, yes, I did need to forgive some of these people for the wrongs No, I forgave one person, malignant narcissist. I forgave her. Just because I don't know what she went through growing up and what made her the way that she is, because it's not a personality disorder. It's a personality deficit for fucking sure. She is a piece of shit, but I forgave her because of how heavily everything was weighing on my heart. And I feel so much better now. The fact that I just called her a piece of shit, I definitely still have some more healing to do. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the healing program that I'm doing right now with Dr. Ramani and all that. It's an on-demand thing. So that all goes hand in hand because I'm healing from her narcissism as well as my ex's narcissism. So when I look over at him and the things that he did to me, do I need to forgive him? Do I want to forgive him? Is it going to matter? 1, I don't need to forgive him. I don't need to forgive him for my own well-being. Because what's going to happen in time, as I'm over this, I may shift my thoughts on forgiveness. I may not. Do I need to forgive him / want to forgive him? Honestly, I don't care if I forgive the guy. Like, I know what he did. He knows what he did. Everybody knows what he did, especially those who, maybe not especially those who know him, but a lot of people who know him knows what he did. They watched him do it and warned me every single time, and I still did nothing. I can't say I did nothing, but I let it continue. I stayed. And by staying, that told him that it was okay for him to continue treating me the way that he did. So this toxicness around forgiveness, you have to forgive. No, baby, you don't need to forgive if you don't want to. If you want to, then by all means, go right ahead. But if you do not want to forgive them or do not feel a need to forgive them in your heart, then fuck anybody who says you have to forgive this other person, because you do not. I am here to tell you, you do not. We can thank Dr. Ramani for that too. It wasn't until she said you don't have to forgive these people for what they did to you that I realized how actually toxic the culture around forgiveness is. You don't have to forgive everyone or anyone for wronging you or hurting you. You don't. I have a friend who was in a much more abusive relationship, and she, as far as I know, has not forgiven the man who hurt her. And that's her process. That's her personal thing. We had the forgiveness conversation, and I said, it might help you feel better. It might not. Do you even feel like you need to? So, if it's not something like, this is something you need to sit with yourself on for a little bit. Like, I'm not going to tell you how much time. You just need to sit with yourself on this. If it's a couple minutes every so often, or if it's like a 10-minute sit with yourself, it doesn't matter. Here's what matters. What matters is that you sit with yourself and you really, truly think about it and feel about it. Now, I am not going to sugarcoat any of this. When you sit with yourself and feel those feelings, it might suck. It might suck real fucking bad. I had an episode last night where I had to kind of, something hit me out of the blue. It was something as simple as a wishbone on a rotisserie chicken. And I had a meltdown over a wishbone from a rotisserie chicken. And here's why I had this meltdown. Pulling that out of that rotisserie chicken was the first time in 12 years that I haven't had a significant other or even a friend living under the same roof to share that wishbone with. And at my age and that reality, that hit really hard. I had a case of the SADS, and then I distracted myself because this is what I do. And then I yelled at myself mentally, like I didn't berate myself or call myself stupid or anything like that. It was more of one of those things like, Amanda, you got to stop distracting yourself. You need to face this so that you can get over it. And that's what I did. It still sucks now to know that like I don't have someone to share that wishbone with. I mean, I do. I have a cat, but she doesn't have any thumbs. Oh well. And to be perfectly honest, I am so much happier living alone. I think it's just got a lot to do with my personality and who I am as a person. It's probably easier for me to live alone. I don't have to worry about cleaning up after anyone else. I don't have to worry about, oh, fuck, did they pay me on time for, their half of the bills? I don't have to worry about any of that shit. It's all on me now. So it's on me to provide for me and my cat. So I do think the culture around forgiveness is toxic. And then that leads to, so with like going from the little meltdown that I had last night over the wishbone into the other part of this talk of timelines, right? That was another thing I didn't really realize until taking this program. I have a timeline for myself. I do. I feel like if a year from now I'm not fully healed from this, I'm a failure. And I have to remind myself daily, sometimes multiple times a day. That's not how healing works. You can't set a timeline. You can't set a deadline. Like, yeah, I'm going to be healed, because you know what? You're forcing yourself into some shit that's going to backfire. It ain't going to be pretty. And you need to heal in your own time. I am the most impatient motherfucker when it comes to healing, because I don't like feeling the bad things, right? Nobody wants to feel the bad things. So of course we're all going to be like, yeah, if I'm not feeling better in 6 months, 8 months, a year. It's not how it works, unfortunately. And I'm really glad that Dr. Ramani is very vocal about that. She actually has like a thing about a year, and I'm really looking forward to getting into that. I mean, I've been no contact since the end of March, and here we are in August. And I'm still like, yeah, a year from now, I might not be like, I don't see myself being better a year from now, but also what the fuck, I should be better a year from now. And you know what? I probably will be, but I'm really trying to let go of that expectation. The biggest reason I have that expectation is because I'm not a spring chicken. I am not, fuck me. That was an old person statement. See, if that doesn't tell you that I'm over 40, I don't know what will. But I can't. I'm like, I'm going to be alone. I'm over 40. I'm never going to find someone to share the rest of my life with. But also, like, I don't think I'm ever going to get fucking married again either. Good. I'm real good without that piece of paper. We can live under the same roof. We can cohabitate. We're not having children. I'm too old for that. We can do it all. We can share it all. We can whatever. Buy me a promise ring. We could even go so far as get engaged. You gonna be my significant other. You gonna be my partner. I do not see me getting married ever again. What's funny is after my first marriage, I was like, I'm never getting married again. Whoops. Lesson learned. Mistakes were made. If I had been strong enough back then, the marriage would have been annulled and I wouldn't be in this position right now, but I wasn't strong enough back then. So, when it comes to timelines, you can't say as much as you want to, and you're probably going to if you're in a healing situation. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you like that. If you're in a healing situation, no matter what it is you're healing from, grief, trauma, abuse, doesn't matter, any kind of emotional healing. If you sit there and say to yourself, if I'm not healed in X amount of time, there's something wrong with me. First of all, you're correct. You're 100% correct. There is something wrong with you right now. And that is that your emotions are hurting due to whatever someone else inflicted on you, or maybe even something you inflicted on yourself, or the circle of life, whatever it is that you are healing from. Yes, there is something wrong with you that you're healing from it. And when I say that there's something wrong with you, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I do not mean that in a negative way. There's something wrong with me. I am fucking emotionally broken. Partially mentally too, a little more so than usual. But that's because of the trauma that was inflicted on me. So yeah, there is something wrong with me, and I'm okay with that. And here's why I'm okay with that. I am working to fix that. I am working to be better. I am working to put myself back together, because fuck him and what he did to me, and fuck her and what she did to me, right? I am me, and no one's going to take that from me. Wow, it feels so good to say that. I haven't said that in a couple of years now. So thanks for being here when I said that for the first time in a long time. We're going to get through this together. So yeah, while there is something wrong with us because we're broken, it doesn't mean we're going to stay this way forever, because we're not. We're on our healing journeys, and everyone's journey is different. My journey and your journey might look similar at some points, but they're never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same journey, because you are different than me. Establishing timelines, expecting a healing time frame, however you want to word it. All that does is hurt you even more than you're already hurting. I'm struggling with it myself, and I'm going to continue struggling with it, I'm sure, until I get to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that point could be tomorrow. It could be 5 minutes from now. It could be a year from now. I don't know. And I am slowly relinquishing the control of that, right? Because I was without control for so long that now I feel like I need to control everything that I totally cannot control, like a healing time frame. Like, what makes me think that I can control how quickly I heal? I would be denying myself the ability to heal if I could control that. So there's so many lessons to learn along the healing journey. There's so many different things to learn along the healing journey. So I'm getting better at relinquishing the control over how fast I heal. It still hits me sometimes like, fuck, I might not be healed fully in like a year from now, or it might show itself as something other than that. Like, what's wrong with you? What makes you think you're not going to be healed in a year? And that's that negative self-talk bullshit that I confront head on. Sometimes I confront it head on, out loud, verbally, in my own home. Sometimes I'm out in public when it happens, because I'll go somewhere that triggers a memory, and I will out loud tell myself, nope, it's okay. Like the first time I was in Michael's craft store, since, I don't know, he moved out, we went no contact. It's the first time I've been in Michael's in a long time. And I damn near lost it, because I was walking through the scrapbook stickers aisle, and I had seen the travel stickers, and that was where I started to cry. So yeah, I said to myself in the middle of that store, it's okay, Amanda, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to start doing the things again that you used to do together without memories of him. Without all of the coulda, woulda, shoulda. Without all of the fucking ridiculous arguments, like we would go grocery shopping and then end up in my car for an hour talking about my fucking attitude because he's being a dick to me in the middle of the store and people are looking at him like, what the fuck? And he's not yelling at me, by the way. He's being super calm about it. But they're looking at him like, who talks to their significant other this way? He does. So I hope his girlfriend now sees her worth and pieces out too, because I'm sure he's got at least one. So I'll say girlfriends, plural. I hope all of those bitches find their own worth, see their own worth, and leave him in the fucking dust and give him what he deserves, because that's what he deserves, because he refuses to look in the mirror. Karma is getting him. I will eventually be happy. He will not. And that's another thing we need to realize. Our abusers are always going to be miserable. Miserable pieces of shit, terrible humans, however you want to call it. We will get to experience true happiness. They won't. Right now, I pity him for that he will never experience that. Now, do I think that pity will ever go away? I don't know. Do I pity other people who will never experience true happiness that I don't know? No, it's easier for me to look at them and say, you brought this on yourself. But because there's a part of me that still loves this dude, it's a very small part. It's decreasing by the day, by the way. This very small part of me is like, okay, I mean, it is pretty sad, right? Like, but he brought it on himself. He has done this to himself. I had nothing to do with that. It's not my problem that you can't look in the mirror and see that you're shit. It's not my problem that you can't look in the mirror and say, oh, well, I fucked up because I'm projecting my insecurities on to them. No, he looks in the mirror and says, I'm a good person. No, baby, you are not. Your friends think you are. And then there's that one thing you said to me last year about, I really enjoy spending time with you because I can be myself around you. I can't be myself around my friends. If somebody says some shit like that to you, fucking run. Run. Not call me, I'll come get you. Like, if somebody ever says something like that to you, that is the biggest, loudest red flag in fucking flames. Especially when you've already started to see the signs of the abuse. Run. Don't take that shit as a compliment, because that's where I went wrong. When my friends tell me I like being myself around you, you know, I like that I can be myself around you, because I have friends I say that to. I love that I can be myself around you. I have acquaintances that I feel like I can't be myself around. That's why they're acquaintances, and my friends are my friends. It took me until I was 41 years old to realize these things. That's the age I'm at now. I'm not over it. I'm not older than 41 yet. Sorry. So yeah, no, if somebody says something like that to you and you've already noticed that you're in an abusive relationship somehow, some way, and this person that says these things to you just like that are, run, fucking run. And don't look back. No contact is fucking hard. I promise you, it is not a walk in the park. I keep thinking about unblocking him. But I did receive a phone call last weekend from a local number that was not saved in my phone, and it was 2 back-to-back. They did not leave a message. They did not send a text message. Nothing. I'm glad I didn't answer that phone, because for all I know, it was him calling me from someone else's phone. Because he's not tech savvy enough to be like, oh, I can spoof my number with an app from my phone. He's smart, but he's not that tech savvy. Kind of weird. So yeah, that is, I'm going to leave this on the subject of, toxic forgiveness and healing timelines. There's no such thing as a healing timeline. And when it comes to, the toxic forgiveness, bits, only you can decide. Only you can decide if you even need to forgive someone. So don't let someone else tell you that you do need to forgive others. If it's weighing on your heart that much, think about it. If it's not, is it really going to do you any good? So I will leave you with those final thoughts. Questions, comments, concerns, want to have an interaction, you can leave them in the YouTube comments. You can email me. Everything's in the description there for you. Email address is amanda.bird.books@gmail.com or amanda@amandabird.net. So have a wonderful week this week, and we will talk again next week. This has been the Books, Life, and Shenanigans podcast with Amanda Bird. Song credit, audionautics.com. Intro action, AUDIONAUTIX.com. And if you'd like to support this podcast, head over to substack.com/@Books, Life, and Shenanigans.